What's up, familia? Welcome inside the big rig. Hope you guys are doing good. Keeping between the lines. Got your load secure. All right, man. Chopping it up with some youngsters, and thinking back, talking to this one vato man who he just recently retired not too long ago, and thinking about what he was saying, right? I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys how it was for me, not for anybody else. I mean, I'm not speaking for anybody else, just for me. And the reason why I gotta say that is because vatos get touchy, vatos are very sensitive, and things of that nature, homes, which I'll get to in another video, man. But this is just me, my life. All right, that is it. Nobody else's. Basically, man, hey, dog, is gangbanging fun? And I hear, a lot about those, man, telling others, like, nah, ain't nothing fun about it, man. You know what I mean? It's all serious and things like that, right? And I remember having this conversation with this one camarada who retired already. By the way, I'm proud of that guy. But he retired, and I remember having a conversation with him, about back in the days, and, he was around the Rodney King riots because he was from that area, and he was out there rioting and stuff like that. And we got to talking about just the streets and the gangs and everything. And he was telling me, like, hey man, it was fun and everything like that, and right? So talking to some youngsters about gangs and gang banging and everything, and they're telling me, hey man, what they've been told and everything, like, hey man, there's nothing to that, there's nothing fun to it and everything, from what whoever told them, their uncles, dad, whatever it may be, right? It got me thinking, dog, and I'm gonna be real with you guys. Again, this is just me. However, I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one, homes. Okay. I've been around all, gangsters and stuff like that, dog. So, and seeing how everybody reacts and responds to certain situations and things, man. So let me just go ahead and get to it, okay? Was there anything, or is there anything fun about gang banging? You know what, man? Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah, there actually was, man. You got a certain sense of a rush. As long as you weren't on the short end of the stick, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But there was a certain satisfaction with that rush that you got from it. Right? Or at least that I got from it. But like I said, I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. And it's unfortunate because you do get that kind of satisfaction, right? That rush, that satisfaction that comes with that, right? Which it's somewhat of a good feeling. And that sucks, man. It sucks because it just kind of leads you more down that rabbit hole, right? Getting blasted at, even that has, some sort of satisfaction rush to it, man. Hey, Holmes, call it what you want, man. Even getting in fights, dog, as long as you weren't beat down to the point where they had to carry you out on a stretcher and you had some, long-term life injuries, dog. But, just a bloody nose, a busted lip or whatever, even with whether you won the fight, didn't win the fight, whatever, man, as long as you were up on your feet, you throw some chingazos afterwards, man, he's bloody, you're bloody a little bit. It's like, yeah, all right, cool, man. It's just, damn, dog, I want a beer now. It just, it got me to thinking of something, man. But anyway, yeah, to to a certain extent, there was some sort of fun to it, man. Um, like I said, as long as you weren't on the short end of the stick, which, what's that now? Well, once you start losing some close friends of yours, man, some good camaradas of yours, then it changes the game, because that hurts a lot. I didn't even really mind, to tell you guys the truth, man. I didn't even really mind knowing that somebody got shot, Holmes. I'm just like, all right, cool. As long as they're okay, they're okay. It's just all part of the game, right? But when somebody starts dying, that changes the game for you, or at least it did for me, right? The pain, the whole thing of it being fun, switches. It ain't fun anymore. Now you're just doing it for a different reason. But before that, was it fun? Yeah, man. At least for me, it was, man. It was, like I said, you got that sense of a rush that made it somewhat fun. Like I said, I know I'm not the only one. I don't want to get too deep into it, but there's certain situations where I remember dudes, telling me like, hey man, what's up? You think that food's hitting a freezer tonight, Holmes? And stuff like that. And everyone's laughing, everyone's having a good time, and things like that, Holmes. And yeah, man, everyone was having a good time. But until you're on the short end of the stick, I guess that's just what I'll say, man. Then it changes. Then again, familia, I'm giving you guys what I experienced. If you didn't experience this, hey man, then you didn't experience. Then your experience was completely different, and that's all right. But once the pain comes and sets in, then it changes it. Then when you go out there, you're not really doing it because it's fun anymore. The sense of a rush it's still somewhat there, but that's not why you're there for anymore, not to say that that's what you're there to begin with, but you come to realize that, oh man, it was kind of fun, even getting blasted at, dog, call it crazy, call it what you want, man, but even getting blasted at, as long as you didn't get shot, as long as you were all right, homie, it was, yeah, dog, there was a sense of a rush, man. It's unfortunate, but it's true. At least for me it was. But now once the pain settles in and that pain starts turning into anger, now you're out there and you're doing it for a different reason. That whole rush that's not even a factor. For me, it was no longer a factor anymore. I guess, hindsight being 2020, at that time not knowing, but I guess me now looking back at it and now knowing that it was me not knowing how to deal with my anger, with the pain that I was feeling, right? Because you're not really supposed to show too much feelings, right? Even though, Holmes, and even though, man, and I don't want to get into it on this video, homie, okay? But man, I'm gonna tell you guys, dog, when it comes to gangsters, homie, and gangbangers from the skies and everything, again, just my experience, all right? Damn, dog, a lot of them vatos are some of the most insecure, sensitive vatos, dog. Serio, man. Serio, homie. And I was one of them, okay? I was no exception to it. But if I'm just going to be honest, answering that question, when I was talking to these youngsters, hey man, was it fun? Yeah, for all the wrong reasons, for all the wrong reasons, it was fun. So, for any youngster that goes and does it, and then they're like, man, that dude had no idea what he was talking about, because yeah, man, it is somewhat fun. You know, when you have a youngster that goes out and starts gangbanging, and they find that sort of rush satisfaction, that fun to it, they're gonna think back of all the vatos that told them, all the older vatos that told them, like, hey man, ain't nothing fun about it. And they're gonna think like, hey man, this fool had no idea what the hell he was talking about. So I think it's important to say, like, yeah, you know what, there was some, yeah man, there was some fun to it, man. That rush was there. Now, there is many different ways to get that satisfaction, you know. I know that now, and I probably even knew that back then, but you know, being just a delinquent and everything, and no excuses for anything, you know, but I think it's important to not just tell somebody these things, but actually show them, right? And there's different ways to get that satisfaction, that rush. You know, my sons, man, they're not about the street life. You know, they're not about the gang life. They're not about anything like that, man. But they got a lot of that satisfaction through, you know, through sports, competition, so many different activities that they were in growing up, right? Today they're young adults now, but they got that satisfaction, that rush, man, from just competing and being physical in so many different ways. Where I think, you know, now, you know, I think back and I'm like, man, you know what? I could have got a lot out of that, Holmes, especially me always being somewhat athletic, and I never even really used it. You know, I kind of think to like the movie Blood In, Blood Out, where Paco says about Crucito, you know, all I see is a waste of talent. Not to say that I would have been some great athlete, because I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have been, but sad thing is we'll never know, Holmes, you know. But anyway, just going back, man, I was just talking to these youngsters, and you know, they asked, hey man, you know, was it fun? And I hear a lot of people, when they talk to the youngsters, they tell them like, nah, ain't nothing fun about it. But, well, I'll go ahead and tell you, at least with my experience, yeah, there was some fun about it, man, for all the wrong reasons. You know, right up to a point where you're on the short end of the stick, man. And I've been on that short end a couple of times, and now it wasn't fun. And once the fun went away and it turned into pain, and then the pain turns into anger, and now you're just kind of out there and you're just doing it just because it's just a part of you now. That's just who you've become now. And that's why now you're just out there doing it, because that's just what you do. That's just who you are. And that's unfortunate, but that's not who you have to be. You don't have to stay that person. But that's a video for another day, man. I just want to go ahead and answer that question. As always, familia, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of your surroundings and always keep a safe distance. Blood makes you live, but loyalty makes fam. Till next time, this is Ed the Troll Trucker. Over and out.